And then there's music. The band Kazka created a heartbreaking video early on in the war, and since then has been doing charity concerts and other work all over the world.
No, I'm not okay. It's 4 in the morning and I'm getting no rest. Sister, I'm just doing everything I can.
Коли настане день,
Okean Elzy and its frontman Slava Vakarchuk, a band used to playing packed stadiums around Europe, now plays for the front lines and does countless interviews and charity concerts. The indie folk band Daka Braka has a worldwide fundraising tour that barely leaves time for travel in between gigs. And there are countless others in all genres of music doing whatever they can to make a difference. Which led us to the wildly popular group ONUKA and their lead singer Nata. While ONUKA is known as a cutting-edge folk electronica band, their music goes much deeper than that label.
Please don't try to explain, as you don't understand.
Nata's own family is steeped in Ukrainian culture, and that culture is infused throughout their music. Some of ONUKA's greatest live performances are playing alongside the National Academic Orchestra of Folk Instruments. Nata and her husband Eugene Filatov, who is Nata's other creative half and co-founder of ONUKA, and their young son Sasha live in Kyiv, but their home in Chernihiv has been in the family for 5 generations. Nata, only 2 days back from a charity concert in Lisbon, Spain, was kind enough to invite us up to their home there to spend the day with her, and her brother Sasha gave us a ride. Chernihiv is around 150 kilometers north of Kyiv, along one of the 2 main highways the Russians used to try and take Kyiv in February and March. It's also along this highway that the world saw some of the first signs of Ukrainians fighting back and winning. All along the way, there are little villages destroyed, military roadblocks every 10 or 20 kilometers, tank tracks embedded in the highway's asphalt. And you never escape the air raid sirens here. The siege of Chernihiv started on the 2nd day of the invasion, February 25th, cutting off Chernihiv from Kyiv and the rest of the country with regular and seemingly indiscriminate shelling of the city, killing hundreds over the next several weeks. But it all ended around March 31st, when the Ukrainians were able to retake the highway we just came up on, reconnecting Kyiv with Chernihiv, pushing out the Russian troops and ending the siege of the city. This is a place with hard stories to tell, and what happened here is still happening in cities across the front lines of Ukraine. But it's also a place where Ukrainian fighters held the line, resisted the Russian invasion, and won, freeing their own city and playing a key role in helping to stop the Russians from taking Kyiv itself. Chernihiv is one of the most ancient cities in Ukraine, dating back to the 700s with deep cultural roots. And you would be hard-pressed to find a stronger advocate for that culture than Nata. With that in mind, we start out in the early 1990s. You started playing which instrument?
Sopilka. This is actually mine. I'll show you.
Yeah.
And this is made by my grandfather's students. It started from Sopilka.
But this is you at a super young age.
Yeah, 9 maybe,
Yeah.
9. But I started at 4. He taught me, my grandfather, how to play, and I started to play some tunes. Then they became more complicated, and I started to play with orchestras. This is about the impact of my grandfather, who really is my teacher in life.
The band's name ONUKA actually means granddaughter, a direct homage to her grandfather. Well, and your grandfather was a big deal in the musical instrument world here.
He's pretty well known, and he made a lot of folk instruments of Ukrainian, instruments of other countries.
Nata's grandfather, Alexander Slonchik, won several national awards and honors during the Soviet Union days. And this was his home workshop where he and Nata spent countless hours.
He encouraged me to fall in love with Ukraine in childhood, to fall in love with music, with Ukrainian history, with motherland. And it was not like a kind of lectures, it was just a dialogue between granddaughter and grandfather.
Well, it's like this room in a way.
Yeah.
It's just infusing you. All those little moments kind of seep into your DNA.
Yeah, I think that you got it, actually.
That love for folk music would become the foundation for ONUKA.
I think that folk, it's so big punch of knowledge, of customs, of traditions, of philosophy.
The part that I thought was so cool about it was what's going on in here is tradition and culture and just an interest in your past, yet your music is super modern.
Я натискати відлік. Тільки майбутнє готовий.
I wanted to play electronica by Ukrainian instruments. I wanted to show how bandura can sound, how cymbalum, how sopilkas and all these our instruments can sound weird, modern, unique.
Літаю в небі я, літаю в небі він.
To show Ukrainian young people how our instruments can look like, can sound like,
Мелодія моя.
and to be proud of Ukrainian culture.
Today is, what is it, September, I guess
We
I
are
watched-
waiting for
so
October.
September 18th. Watching the news, there seems like there's great progress going on, or progress going on the east.
Yeah.
But all these areas are starting to be taken
Unoccupied,
back.
yeah.
Unoccupied.
Yeah.
There's also hard stories coming out of
Yeah.
that. Do you allow yourself room for hope? You know,
Yeah,
and
space for hope.
space for hope in this.
There is nothing except hope. I have never felt so happy to live here, to belong here, to know what my purpose is. My purpose is to make Ukraine blossom. I understand it like a cultural front, the front line of culture.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What our artists and colleagues do with this donating and charity concerts. I think that this the front line of culture is also very important, and it's not in comparison with the real front line,
Yeah.
but it's supporting ariergarde of it.
We're here because of exactly what you're talking about this second front of culture. I mean, we're not war correspondents. You know, this is a television series about art around culture around the world, and it was seeing Slava Vakarchuk.
Yeah.
I saw him playing the piano, singing this like raspy voice, beautiful, heart-wrenching song. It was this beautiful song. I mean, it was like, wow, that's incredible. And then I saw a couple artists, and one of them was this guy in the East, and I gotta admit, I don't remember what city it was in, but it was getting shelled, just beaten up. And he was in a cellar, and he was with the family, and he's an artist, and he just started sketching. So, and somehow these sketches came out and wound up, I think, in the New York Times or something like that. But I was like, wow, this is also incredible, because it's art, and art's getting out and influencing people around the world. And it was at that stage that I thought, we got to go there. ONUKA has had a non-stop fundraising tour all across Europe, as well as a 6-city charity tour across the United States. When this happened,
There was a moment we had such bracelets with Ukrainian flags, and we have a lot of equipment like instruments, and we were just having some domestic flights in America, and the captain saw these bracelets, and he made an announcement there. Here is musical orchestra from Ukraine, and they're touring the world with charity concerts, and everyone was applauding, and it was a moment like in a movie. It was some kind of this moment when you understand that you are not alone in this.
Yeah. Like so many other public figures, Nata is also involved with a long list of fundraisers, including Help Kharkiv, the big one, United 24, Repair Together, a group that, among other things, gets volunteers to clean up damaged and destroyed places, Spunbond, an organization that provides medical supplies and care to people in need, and one here in Chernihiv called This Is My City that's grown well beyond its initial goals. A group we're on our way to meet with now.